What is going on YouTube? Welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at 5 NBA playoff records that are probably going to get broken inside of the NBA bubble. Now, a lot of these records have stood for a long time, and I think the bubble is the perfect time for these records to get broken, especially because the whole dynamics of the NBA and the bubble have changed everything. Like they say, it's a whole new game, and I think a whole new game warrants some brand new records. So with that being said, I'm going to make this list in no particular order. So we're going to start off this list, but first, if you're new, leave a like and subscribe on this video since this really helps out with the channel. With that being said, let's hop right into it. The first record I think that's going to get broken in the NBA bubble this year is the record for most turnovers in a game by a player. Now, if you don't already know this, the record for most turnovers in a playoff game by a player is 12. James Harden actually did this against the Golden State Warriors in the 2015 Western Conference Finals. The reason I think this record's going to get broken is because we have a lot of ball-dominant guards in the bubble right now. Guys like Luka Doncic, James Harden, you got LeBron, all these guys who have to carry the offensive load night in and night out to try and get their team wins. I can definitely see those turnovers racking up as they go further and further into the playoffs and defenses tighten up on star players. There's also the dynamic with the referees, since the refs are going to start calling stuff a lot more because there's no crowd distractions, and they'll be able to see carries, travels, charges, everything you can think of for turnovers. They're probably going to be seeing those a lot more since they're just going to be focused more. And I think that's going to be a huge reason why the turnover rate for a lot of ball-dominant guards like Luka Doncic or James Harden will probably go up this year. I mean, we already saw Doncic with 11 turnovers in his first playoff game against the Clippers, so I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks this record or any of the other ball-dominant guards break this record this year. It's just something that kind of just happens since turnovers are a pretty big problem in the NBA for most teams, and I think it's probably going to happen one way or another in the near future, if not this season. Another record I think that's going to get broken in the NBA bubble this year is the record for most three-pointers in a playoff game. So they've already said like shooters are getting hot in the bubble, and we've clearly seen it with guys like Gary Trent Jr., Duncan Robinson, TJ Warren, Damian Lillard. All these guys are getting super hot in the bubble, and I think it's going to continue right through the playoffs. And we've seen a lot of guys have to carry their teams like Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell. I would not be surprised if those guys are going to have to put up 10 or 11 or 12 threes in games to keep their teams in games, especially because the shooting's been easier now without the crowd distractions, with better depth perception, and everything is just moving at a faster pace in the bubble because there aren't as many stoppages for anything like crowd related, so we don't have to worry about anything like that. And yeah, I think the shooting's going to go up a ton, and we're going to see a lot more threes from a lot of good shooters. So I would not be surprised if Duncan Robinson breaks the record. The record is getting close to being broken a lot these days. Damian Lillard almost broke it last year. Duncan Robinson had 7 threes in a game as of the making of this video in the playoffs right now. And if you guys don't already know, the record is 11 threes by Klay Thompson. He did this in Game 6 against Oklahoma City in the 2016 Western Conference Finals, which saved the Warriors' 73-win season. Now, the dynamics may not be exactly the same where like it's an elimination game, but I think just the way people are shooting nowadays, the three-point revolution is continuing, and we're going to see that record get broken in no time. And 11's not even going to look like a lot of threes anymore when guys are going to start hitting 15 or 16 or 17 threes in games now. Can definitely see it happening. All it takes are shooters getting hot in high-pressure situations. Building on top of that, I think another record that's going to get broken in the bubble right now is the record for most three-pointers by a team in a playoff game. Now, the record for that is 25 by the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2016 playoffs. They did this against the Atlanta Hawks. And a lot of teams have gotten really close. In the last few years, we've seen a lot of teams put up 23s in playoff games. The Cavs actually did it to the Warriors not too long ago. So far in the bubble, we've had 4 teams hit 20 plus threes in a game, and I think it's going to continue. I mean, Steph Curry and the Warriors and a little bit of the Rockets have just revolutionized this three-point era, and I think we're going to start seeing more and more and more threes being taken. The Rockets just broke the record for most three-point attempts in a playoff game, and that's going to keep going up as the years go on, and honestly as the playoff series go on. So that record, the 25 by the Cavs, is going to get broken in no time. It's only a matter of time, especially with how hot these shooters have been. A team like Miami or the Utah Jazz or the Denver Nuggets, all these teams have just prolific shooters, and they're going to keep doing it, especially in this bubble environment. and we're going to see that record climb to the 30s, maybe even the 40s at some point in the near future, which that would be an insane amount of threes made, but it could happen. I mean, you never know. So with that being said, I had that record on this list as well. And then building on top of that, we got the record for most triple doubles in a single playoff run. Now, the record for that is 7 by Wilt Chamberlain. For active players, it's 6 for Draymond Green, and I think that record's going to get broken. We have guys like LeBron James who have to put up triple doubles pretty much every night for his team to win games, and he's probably going to have to do that now. The West is pretty tough, and this might be LeBron's toughest path to the finals in quite some time, so I would not be surprised if he has to carry and do pretty much everything as he usually does to get his team wins. We also got guys like Luka Doncic, who's in a similar situation. He has to kind of do everything, be that leader, be the guy who can just carry the ball and get open looks to his teammates, make assists, rebounds, score, pass, shoot, whatever. So we're going to see those numbers really climb. You got James Harden, but he may not have to do that as much since he has Russell Westbrook, who's also an elite ball handler and playmaker. But yeah, I think the bubble is going to increase those triple-double numbers. I expect LeBron James to honestly break this record since he's going to have to probably do the most out of anyone other than Damian Lillard. But Lillard's probably not going to be in the position to rebound a ton. But LeBron's probably going to have to do a lot. So the last game, he just broke a record for a 20, 15, and 15 triple-double. And he's going to have to probably do that again because that's how the Lakers are designed. So that's why I have the NBA record for most triple-doubles in a postseason on this list. Is probably going to get broken by LeBron James. And at number 1, we got the record for most points in a playoff game. Now, Donovan Mitchell just got insanely close to breaking this record not too long ago in the playoffs in his first game. And he had 57, if all of you probably already know that. But yeah, he had 57 in that game. And the record is 63 by Michael Jordan. He did that in the 1986 playoffs against the Boston Celtics. I think that record's probably going to get broken. I mean, we've seen Damian Lillard be super hot in these playoffs, and I think it's going to continue. If the Blazers get far, I mean, I don't know if they're going to eliminate the Lakers, but if they do, Damian Lillard's probably going to have to put up 60 points for them to get those wins, especially when the Lakers lock down on defense, if they're capable of it, which they are capable of locking down. Whether or not they actually do that is another story. But I think we're going to definitely see those numbers climb, and we're going to see guys shooting a ton of threes and getting to that 60 range. I would not be surprised at all if Damian Lillard drops like 64 or 65 to get his team a win in a tight game. We also obviously had Donovan Mitchell, who got really close. I feel like we could see Harden reach those numbers too. I mean, we're seeing a different Western Conference. A team like the Clippers is going to bother a lot of teams, especially offensively, and Harden's probably going to have to put the team on his back in a few of these games later on in the playoffs to try and get his team wins. So I'm definitely would not be surprised if that record gets broken. Now, it is a tough record to break, obviously, but with the way the bubble is with the shooting and the way guys have to carry their teams now, especially there's no overwhelming favorite in either conference, I'd say. So I think it's not going to be a cakewalk, and guys are going to have to really knuckle down and start scoring a ton to get their teams wins in deep playoff games, deep playoff runs, where you're going to see guys in the finals or the Western Conference Finals going to have to put up huge numbers to get wins. So for all those reasons, I think the NBA record for most points in a playoff game is going to be broken at some point in this bubble, or it has a really high chance of happening if it doesn't get broken. With that being said, that's going to do it for this one, guys. What records do you think are going to get broken in the playoffs this year? Drop your thoughts down below. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.